And welcome back to Newsmax Now. I'm John Bachman. We continue our show now, and joining us for today's roundtable, Jack Burkman, conservative strategist, and also host of Behind the Curtain. Also with us is Lisa Durden, political commentator and talk show host. Thank you both for being here with us.
Thank you for inviting me.
All right, let's start with Mike Huckabee, guys. He certainly isn't backing down from these controversial comments he made about the Iranian nuclear deal. Huckabee appeared with Matt Lauer on the Today Show earlier to face his critics. Let's take a listen.
Answer the critics, Governor, who say that you and some other Republican candidates are doing and saying anything right now simply to be heard over the roar of Donald Trump. Is there some truth to that?
No, there's not, and I'll tell you why. If I was going to make noise about this, don't you think I'd have a better forum than a weekend satellite radio show that I didn't think that many people would even be listening to?
All right, Lisa, let me ask you this. He said he stands by those comments, and he would have made them even if he was the president in the White House. Do you think Mike Huckabee is trying to take a page out of the Donald Trump playbook by refusing to back down?
Absolutely. He clearly is desperate for attention. Huckabee is a sacrilegious idiot. And I'm glad that he said,
Lisa,
if he were the president, he would still have said that. That's why I'm not voting for him. And then to even insinuate that Barack Obama is the modern day Hitler, that he would drag Jewish people into an oven. What oven is he talking about? That is just disrespectful to Jewish people and people in general. Everyone who heard that shrilled because I just envisioned an oven. Who wants to have that vision in their mind? This man is sick. He needs to lay on several couches. He needs Jesus.
Okay, well, let's just be fair to Mike Huckabee. He is an ordained minister, so a sacrilegious, I don't know, necessarily applies.
That's why I said it.
Okay, all right. And I didn't think I didn't think Huckabee had your vote anyway, to be fair, Lisa. But the Washington
Post. Well,
that's true. Let's talk about the Washington Post. They make the point that Huckabee's comment was not a mistake. The Post says this is who Mike Huckabee really is. Quote, Mike Huckabee's comments comparing the Iran deal to the Holocaust have shocked many. So, too, did his refusal to distance himself from the Duggar family after allegations that Josh Duggar, the family's oldest son, molested several underage girls. It should not shock anyone. This is who Huckabee is, an unapologetic social conservative who views the culture wars as very much ongoing and sees his presidential bid as a way to lead the charge for traditional values. But, Lisa, by your own admission, this is working for Donald Trump. So why can you fault Mike Huckabee for not trying this strategy?
Oh, I thought you were talking to somebody else. Well, first of all, if you are a former Baptist minister, you shouldn't be following lay people. You are a person of God, a man of the cloth, supposedly. So I don't want my Baptist ministers following regular folk. This guy needs attention, and I'm kind of glad that I won't be voting for him. And it's an embarrassment, actually, that someone with his background would be talking this way and acting like he doesn't know any better. Why would he want to compare himself to an individual like that? We should be able to look up to leaders like this individual, even if I'm not a Republican. I would expect my Baptist ministers to act like they have respect for people. Well, this man is disrespectful. Huckabee is a disaster.
It wasn't just President Obama blasting Mike Huckabee. A number of high-ranking Israeli officials did the same thing, according again to the Washington Post. Israel Transportation Minister Yisrael Katz posted this on his Facebook page, quote, respected Mr. Huckabee, nobody marches the Jews to ovens anymore, Katz said.
Exactly.
To this end, we established the state of Israel and the Israeli Defense Forces, and if need be, we know how to defend ourselves by ourselves. Now, it's important to note that Mr. Katz is a close confidant of Benjamin Netanyahu.
Yes. I read earlier today that Mr. Huckabee said that there were many Jews who actually applauded him. I would like to meet them. Who would applaud that visual of so-called someone marching Jews to an oven? What oven? The proverbial oven? And he's not apologetic about it? I'm going to tell you right now, if the GOP or the OPP or the right-wingers or whoever you want to call yourselves don't disassociate yourself with Huckabee.
So Lisa, as a liberal Democrat, you're cheering on this type of communication from guys like Mike Huckabee because you say it damages the party further. You say, bring it on. We want to hear more of this stuff because it's only going to alienate voters in the general election. That's your take.
I don't want to hear anybody say they want to see the vision of someone marching Jewish people to an oven. However, if you're so stupid to say something that ignorant, then you just make it much easier for Hillary Clinton to win. I'm fine with that. But I found it nauseating. Nauseating.
All right. Well, we do have some new polling information. We talked about this earlier. A majority of Americans are against the Iranian deal. We'll see if this type of language sways anybody's opinion. We're going to ask Lisa Durden to stick around. We got much more to come here on Newsmax now. We hope to be joined by Jack Burkman as well. We're having some issues with his connection. We'll see if we can get that established. But meantime, we are going to talk about one of the hottest new trends in Africa, and it deals with baby names. Well, it wasn't really a baby name until recently. See the iconic symbol of the American presidency that is taking on new meaning after Barack Obama's visit to Africa. All that and much more when our Newsmax Now Roundtable continues right after the short commercial break. And we welcome you back to part 2 of our roundtable, and good to have Jack Burkman joining us fully this time, conservative strategist and host of Behind the Curtain. Also with us sticking around, Lisa Durden, talk show host and political commentator. Jack, before we move on to our next topic, I wanted to give you a chance, since we didn't have your connection in the last segment, to talk about Mike Huckabee in his comments. I asked Lisa if she thought that he was pulling a page out of the Donald Trump playbook by refusing to back down to his critics. What say you?
I don't think he should back down at all. I'll freely associate myself with his comments. He doubled down. It was the smart thing. I'll triple down on them. That's exactly what Obama wants to do. You know, Obama's whole mindset, and this is reinforced by his focus on Africa. It's this.
The Israeli ambassador to the United States has condemned Huckabee's comments. Also, a close ally, Benjamin Netanyahu, has also condemned them. So if the Israeli government is distancing themselves from his comments, don't you think Republicans should as well?
No, and I don't know why the Israeli government would distance. I can't explain that, but I'll tell you, this is rooted, as I see it, in Obama's anti-colonial view of the world. He views the Jews in Israel as part of the Anglo-American colonialism in that region that he hates. In some sense, Obama is against his own country because he feels the United States, like Britain, is an imperialist power. It's almost like he wants to tear down the image of the United States. This is exactly what Obama's doing to the Jews in Israel, marching them to the ovens. There's nothing wrong with that. I think. All
right, Jack. Well,
no, Lisa,
we're going to end.
Obama is not a murderer. You're absolutely
it's horrifying
wrong.
What Obama is doing in Israel.
Lisa and Jack, let's wrap this up right here.
You're calling him a modern-day Hitler.
Lisa, you had your you had your say in the last block. We're giving Jack a chance to respond, guys. I want to move on to our next comment. Our next topic of discussion here, President Obama wrapping up his Africa trip today with what some are calling a historic speech before the African Union. The commander-in-chief also talked about the potential of a third term of the Obamas in the White House. Take a listen.
I actually think I'm a pretty good president. I think if I ran, I could win. But I can't.
All right, no, he can't. He was talking about the Constitution, also talking about the need for African leaders to help build real democracy on the continent by stepping aside when their political careers are over. But, Jack, you have to believe that President Obama would like, at least part of him would like, a third term in the White House.
Oh, sure, I think he would. I mean, I think like Bill Clinton, if he could somehow change the Constitution, Obama feels he has much left to do. He would take the country in an even more left-wing direction, John. He'd like to do more with health care. I'm sure you'd see regulation in every agency out there. Obama would like to keep going and going.
Well, some folks accuse him of having a lame duck presidency recently, but Lisa, whether you like what he's doing or not, he is doing a lot.
First of all, Bill Clinton is going to get a third term in the White House when his wife becomes the president. He'll be the first lady. Hilarious.
I forget what the actual term is, but it's not first lady, of course. He will be
okay. Well, you know what I'm saying.
First gentleman. First gentleman.
I think President Obama is ready to go. That's why he's going hard in his last year. President Obama did what he had to do for those 2 terms. He made an impact in international relations. He changed health care. He's done historic things, don't ask, don't tell, policies that helped all people. So I think he's just saying that to leave on a good note. He's ready to go, and we got exactly what we needed out of this president, unlike many other presidents like the Bushes.
The real issue, John, is the real question is whether in understand the extent to which he will support the Hillary Clinton campaign.
That is an interesting question
to watch
because we know George W. Bush was not able to help out the Republican nominee in 2008 because of his approval numbers. President Obama's numbers about the same, but he is still very popular in Africa. According to a report by the AFP, a French press agency here, already there are numerous young Barack Obamas and the president's ancestral village, but soon after Obama touched down on Friday night, two mothers in the western city of Kisumu took the unusual decision to name their sons after the president's jet, Air Force One. I've decided to call my baby Air Force One Barack Obama so that we can all remember Obama's visit to Kenya because it's a huge blessing, said one of the mothers. Another also declared or decided to name her boy Air Force One. Quote, I have been told that it is the best airplane because it carries a very powerful leader of America who is also Kenyan. Lisa, what do you think about the name Air Force One Barack Obama?
Well, I can't take it. I would not name my child Air Force One. Let's start there. However, I get why they did it. But there are a lot of mothers naming their daughters Malia and Sasha, much like what happened when we saw that series Roots. When Roots aired in 1970-something, people named their children after the characters in the film. Alex Haley, Chicken George, and all these different names because they wanted to say, we embrace this individual, we embrace this leader, and we want to have a legacy by naming our children after
the Obama legacy is on full display.
It's a great tribute, John. It's a great tribute to the United States that anybody would want to name their child Air Force One.
And I wanted to point out as well. The BBC also reported about George W. Bush's Africa legacy, one of the most underreported things. A lot of kids named George W. Bush, too, for all that he did fighting AIDS in Africa, too. Jack Burkman, Lisa Durden, thanks so much for being with us here. Great to see you both.
Thank you, John. Thank you.
All right, coming up, the Chinese stock market in a free fall. Will the carnage spread across the Pacific? Money Minutes with Tom Hutchinson is coming up right after this.